You're watching the 5 Minute Bark Podcast on YouTube. If you like this episode, you just may like many more. Subscribe today by clicking the red subscribe button in the top right-hand corner. And we're live here today on the 5 Minute Bark. We're so excited to have a next guest on the show here today. We've got Hnilo here today. He's got an amazing skincare company called Alitura. I had to say it 10 times before we recorded here today, but I think I got it right. Andy, did I get that right?
You did.
All right. Awesome. And also special shout out to Nicholas for inviting Andy on the show here today. He said he's an amazing guest, and we're going to share a lot with him today. But Andy basically do what most of us want to do when we really want to change our lives and make things happen. He created his own company with a big purpose, and I'm going to have him share a little bit about that here today, about Alitura and how it came across. Andy, share that with us, everybody, here today.
Hey, Dennis, thank you so much for having me. I love doing these podcasts because it's, every time I do one, it's just like a stroll down memory lane that I don't really have a chance to do, because I'm just constantly staying in the moment and worried about, not worried about, but striving towards achieving what's next for the company, for myself, family, friends, things like that. So I rarely, the only time I get a chance to kind of sit down and rehash where this company and this whole business has been built from. And that's the accident that I was in 5 years ago that I was mentioning to you, that I was hit and run over by two vehicles on Melrose on a Saturday night, just westbound heading Tundra, hit me into the eastbound lane, and Land Rover ran over me and shattered my jaw. I woke up in Cedars-Sinai ICU with bone exposed. My chin was going through the bottom of my mouth, and I was just told to not talk, to not, because they wanted to piece those particles back together. So I got two titanium plates inserted, one up top and then one beneath my on the lower end, just to help the bone grow in smoothly. And then I actually 8 months after the accident, I got those removed because the bone had fully grown back, and I didn't want to have the titanium that close to my brain. So I just, I went home. I was really banged up and I was unrecognizable. My chin was out to here. I severed a nerve right here that holds communication from the brain to the facial muscles on the side of your face. And I would smile and this side would light up, but this side was just kind of dead. And I was told that, it was all numb. Like I would cut myself shaving. I can barely feel this on my lip right here. I still can't feel this side. Like I can pinch it as hard as I can. I still can't feel it, but that's okay. But the thing is, I'm starting to get feeling back in this area. But for a couple of years, I didn't even have anything. And then towards the end of the second year, I started to get a little fuzziness back, which is really encouraging. I'm starting, we're a little over 5 years. The accident was March 20, 2011. So, 5.5 years, a little over. And just super grateful. It's, you hear time, not time and time again, but often you hear sometimes these accidents can lead to something positive. And that's all I took from it from the beginning is that, because people don't survive accidents like that. It was actually really, in a weird way, I wouldn't say exciting, but I was extremely lucky to be alive. In a situation like that, I had 7 broken ribs, collapsed lung, catheter, chest tube inserted, couldn't talk. I was everything but,
alive.
Alive, but everything but being dead. I was definitely a rock bottom, so to speak. So, I had nowhere else but to go up from there. And I had nothing but time. I didn't want to leave the house. I went to whole new grocery stores. I was unrecognizable. People would look you in the eyes and then look directly down, because you kind of had this, it was just a misshaped, misformed face, head. I was just, and plus my confidence was at the bottom, at the lowest it's ever been. So, people that knew me from before, and then, now they saw, it was just really, it was hard. It was hard. But
let's talk about that confidence thing, because actually that's one of the big subjects I'm going into 2017 with, is confidence. And, success really comes from confidence. I mean, the root of success is confidence, confidence in meeting that beautiful woman, meeting that next business partner. It's all in what you say and what you do and what you project. And that's all about confidence. And you had to go from no confidence back to, I would assume, a great level of confidence now. Explain the difference of how you, one, dealt with, you were probably confident before, lost it all because your life was changed, and then you had to rebuild it. That's a massive share.
So yeah, I would say this. So it's like a chicken and the egg type thing. Like which one came first as far as confidence and success? I personally, I just take it back to my athlete days playing baseball, and I had to build that confidence, but that confidence in that, I had anxiety, personally on the baseball field, athletically, everything. But I defeated that through achieving confidence through success that I worked towards. I put in the work mentally, physically, daily. That made me feel better about myself, and ultimately led to knocking down those goals. And then that builds that, for me personally, something that I achieved and I built and I worked towards that. I set goals out and I knocked them down. That's what built my confidence. So I wouldn't really say, that success leads to confidence. Work ethic for me, and that diligent, the meditation, those goals that I set, that constantly tricking my mind into believing myself, and then ultimately knocking down that goal. You're like, oh shit, like I just did it. And then that's something that leads to that personal momentum that just starts that little snowball. It turns into an avalanche of confidence. So after the accident, that's all I had is I got this, It was tough, sure, but I knew, it was never one bit that I just knew I could. I was just trying to find the best way to recover the best and quickest way possible. All I had was my now maybe it was a self-conscious thing. It was a self-conscious thing. I would never say my confidence was rocked because I knew my mind. I'm a very a lot of self-belief. So I knew that never wavered once. So I was just, from that point on, I was just trying to put together a list and the best formula to recover quickest. And then that was going to lead, in a race, I tricked my mind to get over the little self-conscious things as far as my jaw, going out in public. It was tough, sure, but there are ways to defeat that. Little mantras that I would say to myself, look, I'm alive. Who cares what they think? Right. Things like that. But never did I wallow because I've never been that guy. And even as low as I've been, it's just I was very grateful to be alive. I had an amazing level of perspective. You can imagine from surviving something like that. I had a lot of love for my family and friends that I'll never forget. And I just worked. I knew it was the same recipe of how I've achieved anything else in life, and that's discipline, routine, work ethic, and then staying consistent with that. And never once did that waver, and that's what got me back to where I was before. So yeah.
hard work and achieving goals then leads to confidence.
Oh yeah, in my opinion, that's my little recipe. I set goals, make them high.
Yep.
I work my absolute ass off with the fear of somebody else outworking me. I just do little things. I play mind games all the time. That works. That's just what I do. I set goals, write them down. Words, writing stuff down has amazing power to them. And whatever it is, and then that's just, you knock that down. It makes you feel good because you worked towards it. You didn't ask anybody for help, and you earned it. That's something that sticks with you. I can only speak for myself. Everyone's different, excuse me. But man, that stuff, I remember stuff when I was 14, 15 years old, making the junior Olympic team, making Team California. It's like, that's what built that little kid into a wow. That took that little early teenager into, wow, I can actually do this. Because there's so much negative talk with people shooting towards their dreams nowadays, whether it's athletically, professionally, whatever. I've experienced time and time again that we can really achieve anything that you lock in and put your mind to. But you got to, if you have to work out of this world hard. Mm-hmm. It's got to touch everything inside you with what you put into it. But I'm telling you, if you do, I believe
sky's limit.
Anything.
Yeah. So let's talk about that writing down. I heard the writing down the goals. Because that's something I've always done when I've been a Tony Robbins fan. I've been in his videos and stuff like that. I've been to his conferences, and I know all his people and stuff like that. But one thing I have never. I've been successful in many. I've been a professional athlete and different things like that. But you're right. Writing down the goals, I think, is something people need to take away from today. Is literally writing them down. So,
yeah.
Do you actually just use a yellow line piece of paper? Do you have a journal? Do you have a Bible? What do you write your stuff down in? I was
looking for it. It's just a little composition.
Pocket size thing? Or?
No, but it's about 8 by 10, just so I can write a little bit. They're around here too. People told me to start writing right after my accident because my mind was everywhere. But it was good to put it on paper because I definitely want to write. I want to write something about my recovery because it was a lot. It was,
of course.
It's going to be interesting. But yeah, no, I mean, I would just do one of those composition books. Just write it down, whatever's on your head, bullet points, just to knock stuff down for that day.
Yep.
I didn't used to do that, but I've experienced the power of writing stuff down. I mean, there's something to it of physically taking pen to paper and writing bullet points out, goals that you want to do. There's something about writing stuff down because it's our thoughts. My thoughts are everywhere all the time, but writing stuff down and being a little bit more organized with that has helped.
But maybe I've had this conversation with I don't know if you know Alex Schafrin. If you don't, look him up after this podcast. But I was really trying because I've always been a type it out, not a write it out person. And I'm like I'm not feeling it with the write it out, the type it out, and my handwriting is so bad. I've always wanted to write it out, and so type it out. It's so bad. And he's like, Dennis, the writing out, because you're using so many different muscles and the time that it takes to do it, you get to see it actually happen. There's more to that versus for example, the audio book versus the reading the book. The reading the book, you can't listen to a music and read to the book. You can listen to audio book and yet, you can sweep your yard or you can clean your house or you can drive your car. So you're not really fully in the moment with the content. So the writing down and the reading are what make the difference between, achieving higher success.
That's a good point, especially on the reading part. It's.
I'm an audiobook guy, and
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I'd like to be more of a physical reader, but it's tough for me.
It's so tough for me too.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna have to do it because I'm gonna have to. He's right. It's like you only can read those words. So plus my reading isn't all that great anyway. So I get to learn how to read better. So
me too.
I practically dropped out of high school to travel the world. But awesome. So tell us about Alitura. Did I say it right?
You did.
All right.
Nice. Yeah, Alitura. So it's Latin for feeding, nourishing. It's just your skin is your largest organ. So you just want to, I just felt like my body, my skin, I had a lot of abrasions and scarring after my accident. I just felt I was going to recover quickest through just a meal that is a food grade, nutrient dense, antioxidant rich meal that I would stay extremely consistent with every day. I had different little things that I was going to do, whether it was accelerating, the healing by subtle exfoliation and then hitting it with certain ingredients, superfoods, antioxidants, and then getting really dense with the richness of say Manuka honey, colostrum as a post mask. I created this mask that's primarily clays. There's 4 different clays, but then it has superfoods like colostrum, pearl powder, American ginseng, vitamin C. It's just what it does. It lightly exfoliates and it escorts the micronutrients back into the dermis, but it helps remove the impurities that I was just absorbing through the CT scans and X-rays and antibiotics that I was taking to help make sure that there was no infection. It was an internal surgery on this jaw, so I had to take those antibiotics, and it was just so draining. I was like a zombie just walking around, and I hated that. So I would do this morning tonic of Chinese and adaptogenic herbs and immune system strengthening mushrooms and just so many different amino acids and things.
Let me stop you right here because I'm just trying to see this. So I'm just seeing this dude. All right, this dude just got in an accident and he's got to repair his skin. And you don't read, you listen to audiobooks. How did you come up with all this chemicals or this recipe, this magic potion? Yeah. I'm from the East Coast. We call it all the same thing. But this potion, this magic potion to clean up and fix your skin. Where do you start to do all the research? And where do you just grab some ginger and start banging it like a piece of wood and start squishing it and putting it on your face? Tell me about that. Tell us how this all happened.
So I had bad skin in college, and the only thing it was because of the products that I was using. I was using Clearasil, Neutrogena, Clean and Clear, all the very heavily marketed skincare products that I thought were good for me. But it turns out they were extremely toxic and caused a ton of irritation, excess drying in my skin. It was constantly, I had some type of redness or pimples, something like that. And the only way that I was able, over time, it's the worst thing. It's the first thing you see. It sets the tone for your day. If you have some type of redness or irritation, pimple, or anything like that. And so it just bugged me. It was really, really hard for me. So the only thing that worked was this clay mask. Over the summer back home in Palo Alto, I bought this little one ingredient bentonite clay mask. And I'd been doing that once a week. It just brought so much circulation to the surface of the skin. It helped remove those impurities, that congestion around the eye area, and just helped the blood flow. And it helped give me a nice, but also cleaning out the pores and the clogging of the oils and just things like that, dirt. And it really was an amazing cleanser, as well as detoxifying agent and just really overall facial treatment that I would do once a week. But so that led to, it was just bentonite, calcium bentonite clay. But then I started doing more and more research on different clays like Rasul, pyrophyllite, kaolin, iolite, what's that other one? Diatomaceous earth, multani meaty, pink rose clay. I mean, there's so many different, and I would just buy them all. And it was my own little creation. This was years before my accident that I've always been passionate about it, because something that could turn my appearance around that quickly, it would just eat up anything. If I had anything around my face, it would just, boom, pull out that infection. That's what zits are, basically, is a little bacterial infection. It would just pull out any type of irritation there, smooth it out. And I just started, it was unbelievable to me, because I finally beat what was bringing me down, which was the zits. And so I would stay consistent with that. Ever since I was about 23. And then I would go to the site and buy bentonite in bulk, but they had other clays. And so I just started to buy those other clays, like I said, and combine them together. Nothing was precise. And I would study spot treatments, and that's how I got my organic kelp powder, which is essentially an algae, a blue-green algae. And it was just so antioxidant rich, vitamin A, C, K, B12, sodium alginate, chlorophyll. I mean, it's just loaded with incredible stuff for the dermis. It doesn't smell that great, but it's very good for your skin. So yeah, I mean, that's it. I would just do my own research. I would study spot treatments and I would put things together. But the big thing is, so I had that mask going into it, but the big kickers towards the end was a friend of mine put a jar of colostrum on my hospital bed table or whatever. He's like, dude, just put this, mix it together with Manuka honey, put a little paste on. So I was doing that on my scar, and then also I decided to put it in my mask. Boom, that's like one of my central ingredients in my mask. I mean, it's just loaded in growth factors, IGF-1, super healing. It's just incredibly nutrient rich, and your skin, which is your largest organ. That I really feel like that freshly exfoliated area needs those growth factors and antioxidants and really good minerals to help regenerate cell turnover or accelerate cell turnover and regenerate the whole dermis and give you a nice, bright and fresh, radiant, skin. So, I mean, it was something that I was experiencing. I just got addicted to it because I was fine tuning it. And the same people who saw me in the ICU were like, what'd you do to your skin? They couldn't, all the abrasions were gone and the scarring had been significantly reduced and the swelling had gone down. So I just, that's a long story short, but yeah, I mean, a year later, I really started testing with friends, and a med spa brought it in to their practice as one of their treatments. And that was a victory in its own right. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a name or anything. We just called it the mask, the nutrient dense mask. And her clients, her name's Mary, loved it. And so I knew I had something. And then after that, months later, I did a podcast with Dave Asprey, and same thing. I'm just talking to you, telling my story about how I recovered and how I use skincare to accelerate my healing of my injuries, scarring, and things like that. And he partnered up with me on Alitura. We got a website going. He took it on his bulletproof site, and the rest is history. I mean, we have a full line of products now, 2 different sizes of moisturizer, a shaving serum, a night cream, a supplement, body lotions coming out, facial cleanser, and a fragrance. I mean, it's just, I'm making my dream products based with one mission, and that's just to go above and beyond with my ingredients. I mean, I am absolutely obsessed with this. I mean, there is a way to stand out. It costs me more. Our margins are lower because of that. But I'm making products. I'm making my dream products. It's a total creative outlet for me. And people are reaping the benefits of that. I mean, it's just, we're 73 countries now. We have close to 800 cumulative reviews on Amazon and on our site, AlituraNaturals.com. So at like a 4.9 out of 5 rating. I mean, I'm an absolute perfectionist with my ingredients and the products that I make. And I just, in our integrity behind building those products. I mean, so.
That's awesome.
It's so much fun for me. Thank you.
I see the passion. I see the passion completely in this interview of how you found something you truly love to do. And that's important to remember here too, everybody, is that when you find something, this is what happens. Miracles happen. You create great products, you create great services, and you create a great person. And that we have here today with Andy for sure. This is awesome, Andy. I'm really excited that you had the opportunity to come on the show and share with us your life story, your product. How about people trying to get this product, and is there samples out there? Is there a website that can go and? Yeah.
So our website is AlituraNaturals.com. So that's ALITURANATURALS.com. And yeah, I'd like to offer you and your audience a 15% discount. So I'm going to get that set up for the show notes. We'll just call it FMB15 for your followers, and by all means, check it out. If you have any questions, it's just me. I started this all out of my apartment. I moved everything out of my bedroom into my living room and just started to go to work. I mean, I made everything. I started melting down the butters and then getting it professionally formulated now. But it's you got to start somewhere, and I think business is really it's going because we put everything into this. It's all I think about. It's like you said, I mean, it's when you find your purpose and your true passion and what excites you, it's really tough to sleep. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true. I mean, I didn't really know. 30 years old, I was whatever in the entertainment industry. But I didn't love it. It was like homework for me. The only thing I loved is when I get a role that was really close to me and who I am. So that was just kind of fun to play with. But, like studying a character that's not really me, which is essentially acting, I never really got a thrill from that. I absolutely get a thrill from this. And I'm just so grateful that I found my true passion in life. So
that's awesome.
Thank you for having me on. I
appreciate you also being patient in the beginning here. I was sick over the weekend, and I'm just coming back to life today, so it's good. I appreciate my health. It wasn't quite a car accident where I got ran over, but it was a cold that a friend gave me when I was helping him out. But sacrifices we take, right, in life. I've been doing a lot of
sauna. I don't know if you have a sauna around you.
Yeah, definitely.
50 milligram niacin, bring those toxins to the surface, stay in the sauna, stay hydrated. Yeah.
Get them on out.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Andy, thank you for coming on the show here, the 5 Minute Bark. I'm sure we'll be in connection after this and talk more about this. But listeners out there, this is a guy he's got passion behind his product. And if you're looking to get a better skincare, this is it right here. I mean, this is a guy, give him a try. I mean, there's so many of them out there, of course, but this guy give you his reason. He gave you his ingredients. He's given you the fact that he's taken it on himself. He didn't go out and subcontract this out to somebody else. He literally did the work himself on himself, and that makes a difference too. So if anything, you'd be sort of supporting an American here, right? That's right.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yep, that's right. Made in the USA.
That's right. Awesome. We'll talk to you guys soon. You're watching the 5 Minute Bark podcast on YouTube. If you like this episode, you just may like many more. Subscribe today by clicking the red subscribe button in the top right-hand corner.